You want a white nation? Build a white town.
And then organized. Some organized with like-minded people.
We're part of a living tradition that we can't lose.
We were up early this morning to go to a whites-only town in rural Arkansas. Eric, who runs the town, is all over social media. He's going on every YouTube and podcast, very prominent neo-Nazis and white supremacists and anti-Semites in the US. And they're letting CNN come visit them. There he is. Stoney O'Sullivan, nice to meet you. And how many acres have you got here? Or
160.
Okay.
Ish.
It's pretty sizable.
Yeah. That is a pavilion, or will be a pavilion. Just a place to meet up.
What does somebody have to do, or what does somebody have to be to come live here?
You have to be someone who identifies with your European heritage and ancestry.
So European, white.
Those are synonyms to me.
Right now there's about 40 or so people living here, give or take. But you told me there's hundreds of people want to move here. Hundreds of people have applied.
Yeah, there are quite a few people waiting to be interviewed.
Wow. Are they all racist?
Well, it depends on what you mean by racist. Are they racist in the sense that they hate other groups of people and want to deprive other groups of people of resources or opportunities? No.
People like Eric are afraid that white Americans are being replaced, and a projection from the US Census has them worried. I think America is due to become a minority white country for the first time in the 2040s. Are you concerned about that?
Of course I'm concerned about that. And look at what's happened in South Africa, right? White people used to run that country when the tides turned and political control was given to non-white people there. People have to live behind bars and be very cautious. There's private security everywhere.
But these...
I don't see what the problem is. If these people want to go and buy land over in Arkansas and live amongst themselves and basically remove themselves from popular culture and live in their own culture and their own society, do I think that racism is right? No. Do I think that people reserve the right to live their lives how they want to live it if they just preclude themselves and they're not assaulting or infringing on other people's rights to do what they want to do? Nope, I don't care. I don't see why other people care that these people want to go and buy their own land, build their own towns, build their own cities like other people in other cultures say that they want to do, and completely distance themselves and close themselves off from everybody else. As long as they're not killing anybody, as long as they're not, breaking a law or doing something that's wild or weird, I don't plan on ever going to look at and rock out in the Ozarks of Arkansas. I don't ever plan on going up there. And so it doesn't make me a bit of difference one way or another. This doesn't look like the type of person I ever rock with. I don't rock with any of the people that they just showed, as far as whatever it is, whatever the names that they want to label themselves, Nazis or white supremacists or whatever, doesn't matter to me. I'm the type of person to believe that you rock with people based off of the content of their character and not the color of their skin. But if they want to separate themselves, then I think that they have every right in America to do so. And it's funny because when I had this conversation previously, I think this came up a few months ago. When I had this conversation previously on the Millionaire Morning Show, the majority of other people, mostly black, actually agreed with that. Do what you want to do. Just don't ask for help from anybody else and y'all cool.
Be very cautious. There's private security everywhere.
But these fears aren't confined to rural Arkansas.
The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country.
They're everywhere.
In political terms, this policy is called the Great Replacement.
And the name of one white minority country keeps coming up.
Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So
Indeed, Eric took inspiration from a whites-only town in South Africa for what he's building here in Arkansas.
Many of us imagine, what is this going to look like when we are actually a minority? And so we see what's happening in South Africa and we say, is that going to be us?
Trump has even claimed a so-called white genocide is happening in South Africa.
But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about.
Welcome to the United States of America.
He's used this as a reason to open up the US refugee program to white South Africans. Something that in the US has become the butt of late-night jokes.
President Trump has signed an executive order giving refugee status to white people from South Africa.
I'm always amazed at how they always try to make it seem like Trump is an enemy or Trump is somehow tied to this. This story doesn't even have anything to do with Trump, but it's CNN's underhanded way of tying him to a group of people or to what's going on, in which Trump is basically eradicating war and genocide across the board. It's funny because none of the media cares about what's happening in Sudan, South Sudan. None of them care about what's happening in Haiti. Nobody cares about what's happening in Nigeria, the persecution of Christians over there. But then they want to tie Trump over to it when he says, hey, listen, we can't have the persecution of Christians over here, or we can't have this, so on and so forth. And so we need to go ahead and get that together, and we need to stop the wars that's happening in African nations, in addition to what's happening across the world. But go off, though. And again, this is why I don't trust CNN, because this was supposed to be, I thought that I was going to be viewing a video about what's happening in the Ozarks of Arkansas. I didn't know that I was going to be somehow, some way looking at an SNL skit about Trump and him saying that we shouldn't be having a genocide over in South Africa.
You know, I could have sworn that white people had it good in South Africa. Must be the Mandela effect.
Specifically, Trump is giving refugee status to Afrikaners.
These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history, apartheid.
I travelled to Alabama to meet one of the new Afrikaner refugees. Errol, how are you? Nice to meet you. Errol Langton, who had just moved to the US with his family. Could we get 2 of the breakfast sandwiches, please?
You seem happy. I'm very happy. Happier than I've been in a long time. Yeah. Less stressed as well. You know, anybody who knows me, the first thing that they do is, if they haven't seen me in a few months since leaving South Africa, is the first thing is, you're looking good. You're looking healthy. You're looking like you're getting on top of things.
Where you lived in South Africa, you and your family felt unsafe?
We are very nomadic. So we've lived in multiple locations as a family. And in multiple locations, I've had the same kind of sense of, I'm just waiting for something bad to happen. Yeah. And I've had bad things happen.
In 2003, Errol says he was stabbed 15 times in his home. He says the intruder was black, but he doesn't know if the attack was racially motivated.
Is there a white genocide in South Africa? I feel that's a little bit of a loaded question, because genocide, the definition of genocide is such that you can interpret it any way you want. Do I believe there's a white genocide? Yes, I do. They want it to be a black country. And if that's not the definition of genocide, I don't know what is. Again, it's not always just about murdering. The term is eradication, by whatever means.
So how has the idea of white...
And that's wrong also. In every single way. It's absolutely wrong to try to eradicate somebody or to eliminate somebody based off of the color of their skin or their ethnicity. Across the board, black, white, all in the middle.
Persecution in South Africa taken such a strong hold in the US?
I think one could say that a lot of the problems that we experience in South Africa today might be experienced by countries like America in the future.
A lot of it is down to this man, Ernst Roots, an Afrikaner who's made multiple trips to Washington, D.C. and has appeared all across conservative media.
Especially farmers in South Africa, white farmers in particular, where they would be tortured to death and it would receive very little news coverage, and that's unfortunately...
One of the lessons from South Africa is when white people or Westerners become a minority, the threats and the targeting doesn't stop, it becomes worse.
So you view this as a fight bigger than just for South Africa, it is for Western civilization.
We do believe that Western civilization is under threat. I think America should look to South Africa and be concerned.
How important has Donald Trump been for putting the Afrikaner issue on the world stage?
Well, he's been fundamental, and he's played a very important role.
Yes. Like I said, I think that persecution is wrong. People should not be eliminating or eradicating themselves or eradicating a group of people just based off of that alone, as long as you abide by the rules. So, for example, if you're an illegal migrant inside of the United States of America, I think that you should have to go because you didn't follow the rules. Anyways, let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.